Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to make a granny square. I'm going to show you how I make it. First, I am using a size 4 Red Heart yarn. This is in pink camo. This is part of a skein, so I just rolled it into a cake with a yarn winder. So the first thing you're going to do is you have to do your slip knot. Sorry, brain's a little foggy first thing this morning. Um, so I've learned two different ways to do a slip knot. Recently, I learned this new way where you literally just wrap it around your hand, however you do, and then you take this part of the yarn and you just stick your hook in it, twist it around until it's twisted like that, and then basically you hold this twisted part here and then you turn around and you like chain one essentially. I have found this to be way easier because you can still pull it and then it's not the tail that's tightening the knot, it's your actual stitch, which I've found to be just slightly a bit easier. The other way, which is the way that I've used for years, is I have always just wrapped it around my fingers like this, and then I always just shoved the tail back through underneath of my fingers, holding both the tail and the actual yarn itself. You then just grab this here, but then once again, your yarn tail is what controls the size of this loop, which for some things like a magic circle can be helpful. But in this instance, I don't want that to be the case, so I'm going to start by doing my slip knot this new way. So now that you have your slip knot, we're going to chain 4. You can also do a magic circle to start a granny square. I prefer not to. I prefer to do a chain 4 like this. Not sure if you can see that. Lighting is weird today and I'm not sure why. Okay, so chain 4. And then you're going to um, slip stitch back into this first chain down here by the knot. Um, I once again learned recently after 5 years of crocheting that if you do it into this back bump back here, um, it actually creates a full whoops circle. So like this. Let me get this tail out of the way. Um, the other thing I do is I put my finger in between this like this here, and then I just slip stitch and pull through, and then I will pull it tight. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to chain 3. Now, normally when I do projects, this initial chain is just a turning chain. I don't like using it as an actual stitch, but for a granny square, we have to use it for a stitch. So here's your chain 3 attached to your circle. And then you're going to do 2 double crochets. And if you remember, that's a yarn over through this loop here, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again and pull through 2 loops. And there is your double crochet. And we're going to do another one, yarn over, go through the circle, pull back out so that you have 3 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have what some people call your first cluster. I don't like calling it a cluster. That's an entirely different stitch. Um, but your first cluster is this, a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets. The next thing you want to do is we have to create our corner, because in a granny square, you're crocheting in the round and creating a square at the same time, which sounds ridiculous, but that's what we're doing. So you're going to chain 3, and then you're going to turn around and we're going to do 3 double crochets into the circle again. There's 2, and there is a third one. So now if you see, we have the 2 little clusters here, and then we have our corner. This down here is going to be your corner. So same thing, chain 3, and then 3 double crochets. Sorry, I was working on a project last night and kept using treble crochets, and trebles are triples, which I got it stuck in my head that I have to keep doing, so I keep trying to wrap it around twice. All right, so now we have another corner here, on here. I chained 3 again. Now we are going to close up by doing our last and fourth little cluster. Now, in order to close this up completely, we have to go ahead and make another corner. So making a corner means chaining 3. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to attach it to this third chain right here by slip stitching into it. So you're going to insert it under this one, insert it under this one, so that now you've grabbed the entire stitch. And then you're just going to yarn over and pull through all the way, even under that initial little loop that we had on our hook, so that now you have what sort of looks like a little square. Now, the way I was taught to do a granny square is between each cluster on every row after the first, or every round after the first, you chain 1. So what we're going to do now is we have to jump to this corner in order to make our next set, our next cluster. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like we did in the beginning. We're going to chain 3, but then because I was taught that you chain 1 in between each cluster on all rounds after 2, we're going to actually chain another one. So your first chain on round 2 should be 4. So chain 4, and then we're going to yarn over and we're going to insert into this corner right here to do our double crochet. So you're going to do 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. And now because we're in the corner, we have to create another corner. In order to do that, you're going to do 3 double crochet. And then, whoopsie, I did it again. I'm trying to yarn over twice to make a triple. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to do 3 more double crochet. So in order to create every corner after that first one, it's going to be 6 double crochet, which are broken up by doing 3 double crochet, a chain 3, and then 3 double crochet in each corner. It's going to be like that from now on. So then we're going to chain 1 because we need to jump over this cluster, and then we're going to do our other corner. So 1, 2, 3, and then make the corner. 1, 2, 3. Move. And I did 4. So let's take one of those out. All right. So now we have 2 corners for our next round. And then we have this corner to finish and this corner to finish and this weird little thing sticking out, which will all make sense once we get back around. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this and I will meet you guys back here. Okay, so now we are ready to do our last corner over here, which means also including this little 4 chain over here. So once again, you're going to chain 1 and you're going to do your first corner cluster, which is 3 double crochet. And then we're going to create our corner, which is a chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to start our next part of the corner. Now, this chain 4 from the beginning is actually going to count as one of our legs of this corner. So like in the beginning, this one counted as our first double crochet. This is going to count as our third double crochet. So here's 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets. And then once again, you want to slip stitch into the third chain. So 1, 2, 3, completely ignoring this 4th one. We want to slip stitch into this third chain right here. And pull that through. And so now you have your full corner. Corner here, corner here, corner here, and a corner up here. When you move on to the next round, you're going to be crocheting into these center ones as well as the corners. Now, if you want small granny squares, you can start here. You can stop here. If you want a larger granny square, you can do another round or more rounds. Or if you've decided you just want to keep on practicing this granny square, you can continue adding rows and adding rows. I've made an entire baby blanket out of a granny square. It was the entire thing was just a giant granny square. And it turned out to be really pretty. So if you want to add more rows, you're just going to do like you did every other row. You're going to start with a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And this time we're going to crochet right into this hole here. So we're going to do, there's 2 double crochets because remember this one counts as your first. And a third double crochet. And then in order to jump to the corner, we have to add a chain. So chain 1 and then jump to the corner and go straight in. And then the same thing, chain 1 and jump into the center this time. This time you're going to jump straight into this center stitch here. So 1, 2, and 3. So that now it sort of looks like this, which it's going to look wonky until you add the rest of it to it. So I will meet you guys back here at the very end to show you what a finished granny square looks like. All right, so because we've never ended a row like this, round like this, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to end this round. This round is ended just a slight bit different, only because we are not going to connect this directly to the chain 3. We're going to, after we finish our third double crochet in the last little part of this corner, you're going to chain 1 and then connect it to that third chain. And by connecting it, we're just going to slip stitch over. I'm also going to have a post up on the blog as well with written instructions in case anybody's a little bit confused. There will be written instructions as well to go along with this, so you can check that out. And the video will be embedded in the blog post as well. Sorry about my dog prancing around with her cute little nails. But so yeah, that is essentially a granny square here. You can continue to add more rows if you want to keep practicing, or you can go ahead and cut it off. I have other granny squares I'd like to show you how to whip stitch them together, sew them together essentially. There's a couple of different ways to do that. There's other videos on YouTube that I've checked out in the past. I prefer to just sew them together. It is entirely frustrating if I'm completely honest, but I do feel like it's more effective than trying to crochet them together. That's a little bit frustrating, if I'm honest. So I will do a video on that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to go check out my Etsy store, my blog, or even come join my Facebook group. I have links in the description box at the bottom. And I hope to see you guys later. Thanks so much.